In this episode of my Mind-Body Connection series, we're going to look at how, from a mind-body perspective, what you do matters less than what you're thinking about while you do it. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below and we'll get back to you personally. In addition, you can join my weekly group membership meetings, reserve your place in one of my seminars, or purchase any of my mind-body guides, also known as the PDFs, at www.crushingdoubt.org. Now, without further ado, here is my episode on the dominance of thought in getting mind-body results. In the work that I do, and I'm sure this will come as no surprise, I hear certain things again and again. One of them is this: I'm saying to myself just what you told me to say, but it isn't working. This is an understandable complaint, I suppose, but here's the key ingredient of understanding to move past it. If you don't believe it, you might as well not even be saying it. Now, of course, you may need my help to actually believe it. Well, that's what all of the science and logic is for, as well as the structure of the columns, which can explain why things are happening at any given moment. I can help people get to actually believing it. But as we take our journey in that direction, there are some helpful markers I can give to show you why you will be able to get there with the right understanding. There are certain things to know that make your work much easier, because that knowledge keeps doubt at bay, and doubt is the number one wrecking ball that can break down the system you build within my column system. One of these markers is one many come to after asking the question, should I do this particular activity or not? So many of you are wondering the same thing again and again, and I get it. I have been there many times myself. What has helped me most at such times is this basic mind-body concept. It doesn't matter what you do in your action steps. It matters what you think while you're doing it. Take, for example, Dr. Sarno's recommendation that we should resume all normal physical activity. This is a very helpful action step for so many, so much of the time, but not always. Why is that? Because the action isn't what matters. It's the belief you have while doing the action, and the beliefs you will carry with you after the action. Dr. Sarno's idea about this has helped many break through having different thoughts after resuming normal physical activity. One way of thinking about this is that resuming normal physical activity also means to resume normal mental activity. Whatever action step at which we might look, the same basic tenet applies. What happens all depends on what you are thinking when you do whatever it is that you do. So, when you ask if you should do a certain activity, the answer lies in what you can anticipate you will be thinking when you take that action. If resuming normal physical activity will help you settle into the thinking, nothing is wrong with me physically, it might hurt but it cannot harm, then you are safe to do that action and make gains. But if you are more likely to think, I don't know if this is okay, it might set me back, and I won't know if it is physical or not, then you are just handing yourself a giant, difficult trigger, and symptoms actually could go up from taking the action. All of this is to say that it is paramount that you study your own mind to know what is likely to come. If you don't know, that's okay. You can find out from some trial and error. Whether or not you know it, you actually can't hurt yourself in any lasting big way anyways, so you're actually safe. What you may not be safe from, though, are your own thoughts. At least, maybe not yet. Regardless, this can be a very freeing idea. You don't have to worry so much about what you do now. It's not about that. It's about your thinking. And believe it or not, that is something over which you can gain control. In fact, that is such a big part of the column system. It is a way of understanding ourselves and even other people. When you understand something, you can control it much better. That is why I needed to create the system, because I only had partial understandings from the things I had read, seen, or experienced. A system that organizes how we think, accurately, scientifically, logically, and comfortingly, gives us a leg up in every single moment of our journey. Because if what we think determines what happens, we need a way to get control of what we think. It cannot be forced because, as I often say, the unconscious knows all. You aren't going to fool yourself into anything. That's exactly why I built a system where it is a prerequisite that everything has to make sense to you. If it doesn't yet, we continue to ask questions as to why not. When it does make sense, though, we have opened the door to many new things. Now we can consider what to do in a given moment without worrying that our thinking is going to co-opt the moment and make the action irrelevant anyways. Not only that, but we can now begin to track what we are thinking in a given moment. Without this information, we're pretty lost, evaluating different actions but not even knowing how to assess their success, except in the blunt outcome. If we don't know why an action succeeded or not, it doesn't really do us much good. The fact that the thinking determines what happens is absolutely crucial to your ongoing success, even if you might have limited success with given actions. To build a system that works for you, you need to understand why it worked. This relatively simple and clear rule of thumb can save you from an awful lot of trouble. It is not about finding the right action or even the right person to help you, unless we define this as the person who can help you think in logical and clear ways to make sense of everything so you can finally feel confident in what you're thinking. In fact, seeing this basic fact of mind-body work, that what we are thinking determines everything, can answer a huge amount of your questions. Why do you have the symptoms you do? Because of the setup of your mind, given all of your experiences and the information you have been given or to which you've been exposed. Why haven't my symptoms changed? If they haven't changed, it means your thinking has not effectively changed. Can my thoughts be changed? They've been changed hundreds of thousands of times in your lifetime by the simple process of learning. Why would this be any different? As long as you can have some faith that someone can give you the right information, and I can. Is there any mind-body symptom that can't be addressed by this? Of course not. It all depends on what you're thinking, not what symptom profile you have. I could go on and on. What you need to at least consider, and ultimately will come to know if you stay scientific and logical and use the columns to get the right information, is that what you do doesn't matter as much as what you think while you're doing it. An action with the wrong thinking is not even the same action in reality as an action with the right thinking. We have great examples in everything we do. If you're nervous when you're doing anything, you'll do it worse. If you have practiced so many times that it's automatic, you'll be less nervous and do better. The best athletes and musicians and performers of any kind all understand that what their mind is doing at the time of the performance will determine how they perform. It's the same thing here. We need to choose the best actions that are likely to bring us success, but we cannot look past the primary task of it all, which is what to think while we carry out those tasks. The thinking makes it an entirely different action, so don't choose any actions without considering what you are going to be thinking when you do them. I really hope you enjoyed this episode highlighting why it is less important what you choose to do to get better than what you were thinking when you were engaged in that action. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below, and we'll get back to you personally.